genre.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Around, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I am Scott Corelli.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Cass Fredrickson.
Today on the show, we'll be discussing Into the Dalek, the 12th Doctor's second story, which comes from writers Phil Ford and Stephen Moffat, directed by Ben Wheatley, who also directed the premiere, Deep Breath. And except he, as I learned doing a little bit of my background and research that is available for this, because it's a little new, so there isn't a lot. But what I did learn was that Ben Wheatley did not direct any of the Missy stuff. That was all directed by Rachel Talali.
Director of Tank Girl.
Yes. Because he was not available when they went back and block shot those things. Because I guess they block shot them at the same time. Yeah. I think they were shooting the finale, which I believe Missy's stuff starts in that place, that little garden area.
Yeah.
And since Rachel is it Talali? Did we decide?
That's how I've always
said it too. I can't remember. I feel like I heard an alternate pronunciation.
Talali,
like Talale or something like that.
Okay. Well, that feels wrong in my spirit.
It does too. It does too to me. The other one just rolls off the tongue, but I don't know.
Sorry if that's your real name.
Talale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. In any event, hopefully we'll find out soon so we can stop saying it wrong if we are saying it wrong. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for this. It's there's not a lot of background for this, unfortunately. The only other thing that I found was that Moffat came up with the idea for a Doctor Who video game that ended up not going, and then took the story and adapted it into this with Phil Ford.
That explains so much.
Yeah, it does. So I remember when we first ran through the Peter Capaldi episode.
All three of us.
I think all three of us were like, on this one. I like it a lot more this time, like a lot more. And I think part of it is the retrospect of knowing where the Peter Capaldi story is going, where the 12th Doctor story is going, and where his arc as a character is leading. Because I think at this point we were all just sort of like, what is this? Like, this is so different. And so I wasn't as like weirded out by his like anti-military stance. I'm firmly pro non-bootlicking Doctor, I think. I like that.
Well, he doesn't hate the system, Scott. He hates the soldiers. He hates the dummies that are doing it.
Well, yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah. I think he just hates the representation of any of it, but yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, never mind. He's not a pacifist, but I think he's trying to be now.
Right. Yeah. I think also he learns like a nuance over the course of all of this, of like what that is, what being a soldier really means.
You know what it is? I just kind of figured it out in my own brain. It's so human. He hates himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's all his anger and cruelty at Danny Pink, at Journey Blue, at the Dalek. It's him being disappointed in himself because of like the atrocities that he had to do.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, later in like he leads a lot of armies over the course of his tenure as the Doctor, and I think starts to learn a more nuanced. A nuanced view on all of this, but it's a character arc. So yeah, he's not going to start at the end of it.
Right.
He's going to start at the part where it's at its most problematic.
Yeah. He's very rude to Journey.
Yes.
That was really cool to see. Just how 12 he is.
Yeah. He's grumpy. Very grumpy.
You're welcome. Your brother's dead.
Yeah. Not the first time the Doctor's been shrunk down to go do something.
Right.
Go take care of
Yes,
business.
correct.
Not the first time. That episode is maybe one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who ever, but it does introduce the world to a little good boy named K9.
Yes.
His first mission was a shrinking mission.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, it was that the Invisible Enemy?
Yes.
Is that what that episode's
Yeah.
called? Yeah. It's not great.
Like Vincent and the Doctor.
Yeah. It's a fourth Doctor. Yeah, it's rough. I do like this episode. I think it's an interesting sort of examination of the of like what makes someone bad, and that whole thing, like the idea of like nature versus nurture, and like what the difference between the Daleks' beliefs and the Doctor's beliefs are, which is really nothing other than the Doctor thinks he's right. Because the Dalek gets endowed with the Doctor's beliefs, and then he just slaughters a bunch of Daleks as a result. So I think it's just like a lot of interesting, like, I don't know, philosophy going on in this episode.
It's kind of like the inverse of, I talked last week about how cool it was that Richard Curtis came in with this. I don't really care about Doctor Who, but this is what interests me. And to me, this is such the work of someone who has like thought about Doctor Who all of his life. And like, especially that final scene with Rusty and the Doctor, there's just so much like the way that the Doctor and the Daleks feed each other and like become what they hate through the other one was just so dark and satisfying this time around. I had a lot of fun watching this one.
Yeah. Cass?
I am still firmly in camp meh. I think, and it's I probably shouldn't have watched this like back to back with Vincent and the Doctor.
That's very true.
Yeah.
All-time classic, and then this one. But I think a lot of what you were talking about, Scott, about like the like philosophical nuance is good. I don't think it's executed well. I think it's really messy. I did really enjoy seeing Clara and Danny meet for the first time again. That was really cute. But yeah, I don't really care.
She low key like makes like a really cute little joke about him murdering someone. That I was like, crap.
I know.
I'm quirky.
Oh my god.
Did you kill anybody?
I'm trying to be funny.
I feel so bad for him because like the morbidly curious kid, and then Clara's just like, oh, what do you cry about it when you kill people? And he's just like, this school sucks.
Who told you I cry?
Right.
Who told you about that?
What?
But
Come
like,
to dinner with me.
I don't know. I also don't really care for the character of Journey, though she does have a really cool name. And I think the Doctor kind of being the inverse of the Daleks, like they still having all of the hatred and malice that the Daleks do, but just directed at the Daleks instead of at the world, was done much better in Dalek. So, because it even kind of echoes that line, like you would make a good Dalek.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Who wrote Dalek?
Robert Shearman.
Or Shearman.
But
yeah, I see everything that you're saying. I guess there's something about these early Capaldi episodes that I appreciate, because I do agree that the philosophy and the way that they're discussing these things are not as well done as they could be. They are a little sloppy, but I find there's something about that I find interesting, because in terms of like Moffat's tenure as showrunner on the show at this point, right? He just came off of an era where all BBC wanted was movie posters. Movie poster ideas. That's it. That's what we want. We don't want you to dig deep or do anything interesting. We just want something that looks cool on a poster. Dinosaurs on a spaceship. Sorry, Nick.
I don't know if that was entirely the BBC's idea. I remember a lot of I think he seemed pretty excited about that too. And like, wasn't that his idea that he was like wanted to do that?
I don't know whose idea it is, and you would never be able to know for sure because it's his job to hype up whatever they're doing.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So
yeah, there's no way to know.
Yeah, there's no really way to know. But the point is he was coming off of all of that.
Yeah.
And now he's coming into this and he's like, okay, I've got an old man doctor. I'm gonna go
just like I've always wanted.
Yeah, I'm gonna go completely different from what I was doing with Matt Smith. And we're gonna go heady and we're gonna go, we're gonna talk philosophy and themes and like all of that. And so you have episodes like this, and you have the stuff with regeneration in Deep Breath, and you have Listen in like the episode after next, right?
Yeah.
And all of the fun ones, I think, kind of fall a little flat. Like for me, Roberts of Sherwood. We'll Robots of Sherwood. We'll see what it looks like when we cover it in the next season.
I mean, that one's Mark Gatiss, right? So
yeah, I might change my mind. But I don't love when Gatiss tries to be fun on Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find his fun episodes particularly fun or memorable.
Mm.
But we'll see how it goes. I could always change my mind. It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is like over the course of Peter Capaldi's era, I think Moffat learns that his sort of steadfast focus on philosophy and themes and digging into like deep stuff.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. All of that, I think he realizes doesn't work without the other part. And then I think he starts to merge the two, synthesize the two concepts by the end of Capaldi's run. And then we get some of the best that he's ever done in Doctor Who. And I think the beginning of that, to me, I think starts with not Death in Heaven, the other one, Heaven Sent. I think Heaven Sent is the first, like, where it's like the movie poster thing is it's just the Doctor, that's the movie poster concept. And then it's like, and he's going to be talking about theme and philosophy, and you're going to be pumping your fist at the end of this episode. And he's right. And it rules. And I think that once he gets over that hump and realizes he needs to synthesize the two, then we get the back half of Capaldi's run, and it's like incredible stuff. It's like some of the best Doctor Who ever.
I think it starts. I think it acts like it starts earlier than that. Because like with respect to changing our mind on things, like Last Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
Is like
Very good point.
You have Nick Frost Santa Claus, but also like grappling with mortality and like the passing of time.
Yeah. Very good point.
What
Very
makes
good
something
point.
real?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't mind the mess, I guess.
Oh yeah, listening to, I was also kind of reminded of another movie poster episode, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS.
Mm.
Yeah.
And this episode, and I think I remember even saying this back when we first reviewed it, is the premise, the log line that we read of like the Doctor goes inside of a Dalek and it's just as dangerous on the inside is like, are you kidding me? That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the weakest part of this episode because it's just hallways and robots chasing them. And it kind of falls short in that regard.
Right, because the high concept of the episode is ultimately not actually what the title means. The title actually means like in here,
right,
in the mind,
messing with him
right?
like psychologically.
Yeah, we're getting into a Dalek psychologically. We are going into a Dalek physically, but we're talking psychologically. That's what this is about.
I am head over heels in love with the idea of a Dalek just like scooting past a window on a ship and be like, huh? And seeing a star being born, and it just rocks his little brain.
Yeah.
Beauty.
I'm also when you first started telling this story, I thought you were going to say I am in love with the idea of a Dalek like on a therapist couch, and I was like, so am I.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
What does that mean?
Everyone asks how it feels to be exterminated, but no one asks how it feels to exterminate.
Oh my god.
It's true. There's an amazing moment where his little squeegee thing presses a button
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. It just be like, oh, that's right. It is just a little plunger thing.
Yeah, great. Oh man, yeah. I think the only downside of the because I think ultimately the episode isn't really about being inside of a Dalek, like physically, but I really wish the little robot things that were killing people were like little Daleks. Like I wish they were just like little Daleks like flying around.
That said exterminate in like a higher octave.
Yes.
I'd forgotten that they weren't.
Yeah.
So then when the little orbs showed up, I was like, oh, that's not as fun.
No. Yeah. I just wanted like little Daleks with like wings, maybe. That would be.
I also appreciated how in this episode, the longer we get, I'm starting to resent episodes that try to reinvent the wheel with the Daleks and start like, this is the new normal. They're like this now, because it's never the case.
Yeah. Never. Not once.
and in this episode, they're the Daleks. They're chasing these guys who they're normal. They're all the same color. It doesn't matter. And yeah. I appreciated it.
Regular old Daleks. How did it feel watching this after revisiting the end of Rusty in
Twice Upon a
Time very recently for our Christmas special Final Four?
I think it made it like a fraction better for me. But it wasn't like, it wasn't like everything clicked into place and I like saw the universe or whatever. Right. It was just like okay, that's what this little guy.
Well, there's this incredible gap of time now of him like goodbye, like rolling down the hallway to like being in a church in like 1917.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is a moment, like in retrospect, it really is a moment where you're just like, Moffat, no one cared about this episode as much as you did. Like, most people probably don't even know who this is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rusty. Another, I guess, like Cass said, like watching this after Vincent and the Doctor maybe didn't do this episode a ton of favors. Mm-hmm. I had forgotten what early Clara was like. Mm-hmm. And how Moffat was still kind of just writing Amy.
At times, yeah.
This like, I'm flirty. You can't. I've always got to come back. And it's like, but we just saw Vincent and the Doctor, and I was like, oh, she like wasn't Clara yet.
Yeah.
To me,
she was still better than Clara with 11, though.
Oh,
she was already starting to get
yes.
better.
Yeah, none of those I've seen in like 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because she's not like flirty with the Doctor anymore, at the very least. Whereas like she was very flirty with the Doctor when he looked like Matt Smith.
I think like
kind of obnoxious.
Clara and 11 to me is like Rose and 10 to you, Scott. Yep. Like I can't stand Clara and 11.
Yep, for sure.
What was that meme? Like E-Girl and her podcaster boyfriend.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed that was interesting about this episode. This is for both of Stephen Moffat's Doctors. Their second story results in them inside of another creature and then ending up in a goopy area, like sliding down a slide and landing in a goopy area where they're like, no big deal. And everyone else is like, this is gross.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
They both also end with the Doctor being hopeful and then disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also that. One in humanity and the other mostly in himself.
Right.
Yeah. Which is also kind of interesting. I'm wondering if he did that on purpose or like to like actually draw a straight line between those two.
Because he tries to ask Clara. He's like, Clara, be my pal. Tell me the truth. Am I a good man? And she's not able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the Doctor's real friend, oldest friend, the Dalek, is able to answer the question. And I think that's what rattles him the most. Mm-hmm. Is it's like the answer that he was like most afraid of.
Right. Yeah. That's true. That is true. But I think at the end of the day, I do prefer The Beast Below to this. But
me too.
I think I don't know. We're not talking about Beast Below, but I think Beast Below is like
Matt Smith's really good in that episode.
Yeah, he's really good in that episode. I think that episode in general is pretty underrated. In terms of like Doctor Who episodes. At some point, we should do like a
third way around.
No, like a doctor, like a Doctor Who, like kind of like whenever we like complete a Doctor, maybe we like go back and like do like a ranking of their stories
Oh, that'd be really interesting.
together. I think that'd be fun.
We tried out with 9, I guess, first.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we would do that with
no.
9 first. Yeah, because we're almost done with him.
Yeah, he only has
Ed-
2 stories left.
2, yeah.
The Weakest Link and-
Boomtown and the two-parter, the finale.
Oh,
Boomtown, yeah. Yeah. blonde farting alien.
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Did the fart scale drop immediately to 0 once Russell T Davies left? Was there like a single fart joke in all of the Moffat run?
I don't even think there was a fart joke in the rest of Russell T Davies'
Right?
run.
I think it's
he
just
really,
them.
Yeah, I think he really took that to heart and was like, "Oh, okay, so this is the thing I can't do." In fact, I'm pretty sure all the fart jokes moved over to Sarah Jane Adventures. He was like, "This is where the fart jokes belong," and everyone collectively said, "Yes, correct."
Do you think? What if that's why Eccleston left?
Was the fart jokes?
He was like, I can't.
I can't. This is so beneath me.
This is buffoonery.
Yeah, I will not stand for it.
I will not sanction this buffoonery.
Oh man,
And he wouldn't sanction it again for 10 years.
it's true. Yeah, I don't know. This is I don't know. I as far as like Dalek episodes go, I think we go either way, right? I mean, this is much better than like say like Daleks Take Manhattan.
Yeah.
Which is maybe one of the worst Dalek episodes ever. I don't know.
I can't even. All I remember about that, I remember like the cosmetics, like what it looks like, and I remember Andrew Garfield turning into a pig, but
Right.
like I don't remember anything emotionally about that episode anymore.
Do you remember Dalek wearing a suit? Dalek man wearing a suit?
You don't like this episode?
No.
Is he literally a Dalek wearing like a tux?
Yeah, no, well, like a pinstripe suit,
Oh
like
my
a
God.
like a mob boss.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it should be great. It's not. It's
I
Well,
don't
because it doesn't say C.
yeah.
I don't mind that one. Then again, I haven't seen it in a
Oof.
really long time, so
Exterminate, see?
No, because he doesn't even get to talk like that because he's just the goopy monster.
Oh.
He's not even like a robot Dalek. He's
Got
not.
it.
He doesn't have the casing.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
It's just like that on like a human body.
Mhm.
That's the head, and then yeah, like a little more crangy.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think it's far from like the worst of Daleks, but it's not like top tier. It's very like middle of the road
Mhm.
Dalek story. I think. Yeah.
Which is inherently
just-
disappointing to me, I think, because it's the Daleks and I want all of them
Sure.
to just be at least like very silly.
Absolute bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a part in this episode where the lady is like, you better, my name is, I forgot her name too, so I can't judge the doctor, but he was like, you better do, this is my name, you better name something crazy after me, and the doctor's like, oh, you know it, I will. And like then she goes to heaven, and I'm like, he forgot it as soon as she went away.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What a weird thing to not, am I missing something? Did that like, did that come back at the end of the episode in some way?
No.
I don't think so.
It felt like such a like, oh, he's gonna name like the maneuver or something after her.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I
well,
don't think so.
rule number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that this episode has that you never really see again. Is a would-be companion asking to join him and him being like, nah, I'm good. Thanks. You don't see that a lot. You know?
Mhm.
Like even Adam got to travel at least once. He gave Adam a shot and then never again.
And I think I remember the soldier thing really irking me back when I first watched this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now, even that moment where he's like, I can't not, if only you weren't a soldier. And it's like, oh, it's not that he like thinks he's superior to them or better than them. It's like, you'll just remind me of like the thing I regret the most.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But there is an opportunity. There could have been an opportunity there where if he had brought in a soldier as a companion, there could have been an opportunity to do more of like the thing where she's like aiming her gun at him and being like, take me back to the thing. And he's like, no, not like that. Do it a different way. Come on.
Mhm.
Stop it. What are you doing? you know, and there could have been more opportunity for that to be like, you know, I can
Yeah.
help myself by helping her get over this stuff.
mindset that she's in,
Right.
or this life that she's had to. You know.
Yeah, I think there could have been. I mean, because that's the whole right. The doctor like is healing people, right?
Yeah.
That's there's a world where he could have done that with her, and I think it could have been really interesting. Probably more interesting than like at least 70% of what they did with Clara. You know.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that almost feels too far away now.
Mhm.
Like 13, that feels like even further away. That it's not really in her the way that it was for Capaldi, and 11. We're still dealing with the War Doctor.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think Moffat tries to get through that with Danny Pink a little bit, but I don't think he quite nails it. You know, I think a lot of the Danny stuff is probably kind of some of the weaker stuff of this era, unfortunately, just because I think what he wanted to do was a cool idea, but then the execution of it just didn't quite get there.
Mhm.
I think. Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Oh, it
Please.
sucks because Danny's really charming, and like charismatic and funny. So like, I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see, I guess.
Yeah. That scene where that woman is like, so, did you do anything fun this weekend? And he was like, no, I read a book. And she's like, I bet you did. And like, just keep saying,
It's so
oh, yeah, I
weird.
bet you did. I was like, what are you talking? What are you saying that he did? Did you just think he like went out and murdered some people?
Oh, because the principal says like, oh, you'll have to watch Danny. He's a bit of a lady killer.
Oh.
So
Just because he's a military guy?
I don't get. So like they think they're scared. They're like fascinated by like, did you kill anyone? But then they're also like, oh, there's Danny. He's like a rapscallion. He's a good time Charlie.
Is this like a British culture thing that we don't really understand? Like because like guns aren't as ubiquitous over there, and so like there's like a fascination with guns that we don't have as much because we know the cost of them.
I don't know.
I like, is that like a weird cultural
I
difference
think
there?
it's like the him serving in the military and him being kind of
A 10.
a 10, yeah.
I don't know, a playboy, I guess. Maybe those are two separate things, and I'm just like, neither of these are landing.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, did you leave this school?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I made teacher cry in the middle of class. I'd ask him if he'd killed anyone in the war. Or not in the war.
Oh man. Yeah.
Coal Hill.
Yeah, there's also like a weird aspect of the Danny Pink stuff, and I'll have to track this as we go along, but like if I can remember. But there's a weird aspect of the Danny Pink stuff where it almost seems like Moffat's trying to draw a comparison between the hang-ups that the Doctor has that you were talking about, Nick, about being a soldier himself and the guilt that he carries with that, and then Danny Pink and seeing that in Danny Pink, but also the fact that Danny Pink is Clara's love interest, and then Clara was like in love with the Doctor, like when he looked like Matt Smith, and like I feel like there's lines being drawn between all of those things that, you know, probably looks like like Charlie in that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But yeah, like I feel like there's something there that I'm going to be interested to continue to track.
I think you're right, and maybe he was thinking like, oh yeah, this is actually like point A, point B, point C. But then it turned into like Charlie in front of his like conspiracy theory map.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little moment where Clara refers to the Doctor as one of her hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
As like, now that it's 12, the emotion is still there, but maybe she doesn't feel the kind of romantic flirty connection that she did. And so like, yeah, maybe she's like subconsciously looking to fill that somehow. And here's Danny that has a lot more in common with the Doctor than she maybe even is aware of. It's interesting.
Yeah, true.
And then he gets turned into a Cyberman.
Yeah, he sure does. That's two characters during the Capaldi era that get turned into Cybermen. Two companions. Kind of a bummer.
Both black.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel like it's definitely a whoopsies, but also it's unfortunate, man.
It's a hell of a whoopsie.
Yeah, it's a hell of a whoopsie.
Jesus.
It is a hell of a whoopsie. Oh boy.
Oh no.
Also, like, why? Why do you need to do that twice? I don't know.
Right?
What a weird thing to. Yeah.
Yeah, like what? Once wasn't enough. Where you're like, oh man, I almost got it that time. But I'm gonna go again.
Oh, you know what's really funny? But I've done it before.
Really weird. Anyway, all right. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, kind of a mixed bag stuff to talk about.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So that brings us to the season 9, and what we're gonna do with that. So we are taking a break. So everyone should prepare for that. We don't know when the new season of the show is airing, like the Doctor Who, the new season of Doctor Who. So that might throw a wrench in our plans. I would like to be back this summer sometime. We don't know exactly when, so I don't want to quote you on a date, because it'll all just depend on our schedules and all of that. Nick and I have a new podcast called Franchisography that you can check out. Cass is doing coverage of the Hobbit films with Norman, her Lord of the Rings co-host, Lord of the Rings Minute co-host.
Mhm.
Cass was a delightful guest on a delightful episode of Franchisography where we talked about Men in Black
Yeah, that was
International.
fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So so we have like other irons in the fire. We're not planning on being gone like for like a year like we were last time. But you know, it'll depend on a couple of factors. One, what our schedules look like in terms of free time this summer, and then also when the show is planning on coming back, or when it's rumored to be coming back. My theory is it'll be in the fall, because I think that it'll just be those 10 episodes, and then we'll get presumably like a Christmas special,
The non-denominational holiday special.
Yeah, and then a New Year's Day special where she'll presumably regenerate.
It's a Bill Nighy. Psych, everybody.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the plan is in terms of all of that. So that'll gonna have to keep us on our toes. But when we do come back, hopefully this summer, we will be covering a lot of episodes. And honestly, it's a weird season. I'm not gonna lie, it's a weird season of the show. So we start off with the Reign of Terror, which doesn't exist, but I believe has an animated version. So that'll be good. So we've got that. Then we have the Abominable Snowmen, which I believe is in the same situation. I believe it has an animated version, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the Demons, the Android Invasion, Snake Dance, Mind Warp, Battlefield, Embrace the Darkness, which is an 8th Doctor Big Finish story, Boomtown, Love and Monsters, and Fear Her, which we are covering in the same podcast episode, because we didn't want to have a whole round of Long Way Around where we didn't even get to talk about the 10th Doctor. And also Love and Monsters and Fear Her, both not the best episodes. So we thought it would be best to just mash them together and talk about them at the same time. So that's what we're going to do. And then we have The Lodger and Robot of Sherwood. So that's what we're covering.
Oh my
next
gosh.
season.
If we do it, well, there's a chance there are people who think that they should cancel the Olympics this year, but if they don't, then we'd be talking about Fear Her right during the Summer Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay. Interesting. All right. We'll have to figure that out. See if we can time that up, sync that up, right? In any event, yeah, that's the next season of the show. It is an eclectic a bunch of episodes, both in quality and subject matter. There's some rough ones. There's a couple of really solid ones. I don't think there's any all-timers in here. The Lodger, I think, comes the closest to an all-timer. I'll be really interested to see if I can handle James Corden now that James Corden is James Corden. Now that we all know James Corden as the Brits knew James Corden
back when this episode came
aired.
out.
Yeah. And everyone's like, guys, no, James Corden, no. And they're just doing like the cut it like in the neck.
Even before he was Buster for Jones.
Yeah, right. Yes, Buster for Jones himself. we will see how that goes. Yeah,
it's a good season.
Yeah. I think this was a really solid season of the show. I really, really happy with a lot of these episodes.
Great job, fam.
Hopefully you guys all enjoyed them as well. And we'll be off. If there is a situation in which we get a date on the show coming back and it's like early fall and there's no way we can get through a season of The Long Way Around before the new episodes start airing, then we'll probably do some sort of hiatus special in there where we like talk about the trailer for the new season, or I don't know, episode titles or something like that. We'll find a way to come back before the show itself comes back. But
Dan,
what's it? Yeah,
talk about Dan for an hour.
Yeah, we'll just talk about Dan for an hour.
Have they even started shooting the new?
Yeah,
okay.
I think they finished. I think they're done.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they finished shooting like a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. As always, sorry about the long wait on this one. In terms of like, this season of the show. And I think we did miss a week accidentally somewhere in there. That was my fault. I just like forgot to schedule an episode one week, and so just like missed a week.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Yep. I think it was a thing where I thought I'd already done it, and then I didn't, and then I didn't realize until like 2 days later, and I was like, well, I guess it's just coming out on Tuesday.
Like when the Doctor left Clara in Glasgow for 3 weeks.
Exactly like that. Yep, 100%. But except I didn't bring anybody coffee. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to the podcast, everyone. And you'll be hearing from us again sometime this summer, whether it's a new season of Long Way Around or some sort of hiatus special before the new season of Doctor Who airs in the fall.
You all should,
thanks so much, guys.
You all should join our Discord that we have.
Yeah. Join the Discord. There's a link on duelinggenre.com. There's a link at the top that says Discord.
Yeah.
You can click that, and it'll just like automatically join you to the Discord.
And there's a channel just for talking TDC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you should definitely do that. Join in there, and we'll all talk to you again very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.